George Washington. As America's first president, Washington set the standard for leadership. He guided a young nation through uncertainty, united its people, and stepped down after 2 terms, shaping democratic tradition. John Adams. A founding father and skilled diplomat, Adams defended American independence, built a strong navy, and faced foreign tensions. His presidency showed the growing pains of a new democracy. Thomas Jefferson. Author of the Declaration of Independence, Jefferson expanded America with the Louisiana Purchase. His vision of liberty, education, and agriculture shaped the nation's democratic ideals for generations. James Madison. Known as the father of the Constitution, Madison led during the War of 1812. His leadership preserved U.S. independence and strengthened national identity during a turbulent era. James Monroe. Monroe's presidency is remembered for the Monroe Doctrine, warning Europe against colonizing the Americas. He oversaw national unity and expansion, defining U.S. influence in the Western Hemisphere. John Quincy Adams. A brilliant diplomat, Adams promoted science, education, and infrastructure. Though his presidency faced challenges, he later became a strong voice in Congress, fighting slavery and defending civil liberties. Andrew Jackson. A war hero and man of the people, Jackson expanded democracy and power of the presidency. Yet, his policies toward Native Americans remain controversial and tragic. Martin Van Buren. Van Buren, skilled in political strategy, faced the Panic of 1837, a financial crisis that defined his term. His leadership tested America's resilience in hard economic times. William Henry Harrison. Harrison, a military hero, served the shortest presidency, only 31 days before his death. His brief time in office highlighted the importance of stability in leadership. John Tyler. Nicknamed his Accidency, Tyler became president after Harrison's death. He defended states' rights, expanded U.S. territory, and set the precedent for vice presidents fully assuming presidential powers. James K. Polk. Polk expanded America's borders dramatically through the Mexican-American War, adding vast territories including California and the Southwest. Known as a dark horse president, his single term reshaped the nation's map. Zachary Taylor. A hero of the Mexican-American War, Taylor became president with little political experience. Though his term was short due to his death in office, he opposed the spread of slavery in new territories. Millard Fillmore. Taking office after Taylor's death, Fillmore supported the Compromise of 1850, which tried to ease tensions over slavery. His signing of the Fugitive Slave Act, however, fueled national divisions. Franklin Pierce. Pierce sought to unite the country, but his backing of the Kansas-Nebraska Act worsened sectional conflict. His presidency deepened divisions over slavery, pushing America closer to civil war. James Buchanan. Buchanan failed to resolve the nation's escalating slavery crisis. His inaction during secession left the Union fractured, making him one of the most criticized presidents in U.S. history. Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln led the nation through the Civil War, preserved the Union, and ended slavery with the Emancipation Proclamation. His assassination turned him into a symbol of unity and freedom. Andrew Johnson. Succeeding Lincoln, Johnson clashed with Congress over Reconstruction. His leniency toward the South and opposition to civil rights led to his impeachment, though he narrowly avoided removal. Ulysses S. Grant. A Union war hero, Grant worked to protect African-American rights during Reconstruction. His presidency was marked by corruption scandals, but he remained personally respected for integrity. Rutherford B. Hayes. Hayes ended Reconstruction with the Compromise of 1877, pulling federal troops from the South. His decision effectively restored white control, shaping racial politics for generations. James A. Garfield. Garfield pushed for civil service reform and educational opportunities. His presidency was cut short when he was assassinated only months into office, shocking the nation. Chester A. Arthur. Initially seen as a machine politician, Arthur surprised critics by supporting reform. His Pendleton Act began dismantling the corrupt spoils system in government hiring. Grover Cleveland. Cleveland, the only president to serve 2 non-consecutive terms, fought corruption, vetoed excessive spending, and defended honesty in government, gaining a reputation as a reformer. Benjamin Harrison. Harrison expanded the Navy and signed the Sherman Antitrust Act, the first step against monopolies. However, his high tariffs and spending cost him re-election. William McKinley. McKinley led America through the Spanish-American War, gaining territories like Puerto Rico and the Philippines. His assassination in 1901 brought Theodore Roosevelt into the presidency. Theodore Roosevelt. Energetic and bold, Roosevelt championed progressive reforms, trust-busting, and conservation. His big stick diplomacy expanded U.S. influence abroad, making him one of the most dynamic presidents. William Howard Taft. Taft, the only man to serve as both president and chief justice, emphasized trust-busting and regulation. His cautious style disappointed progressives, setting the stage for Theodore Roosevelt's political comeback. Woodrow Wilson. Wilson led America through World War I, promoting his 14 points and founding the League of Nations. At home, he pushed progressive reforms but also upheld segregationist policies. Warren G. Harding. Harding promised a return to normalcy after World War I. Though personally popular, his presidency became infamous for corruption scandals like Teapot Dome, overshadowing his economic recovery policies. Calvin Coolidge. Known as Silent Cal, Coolidge championed limited government and pro-business policies during the Roaring Twenties. His quiet, steady leadership oversaw prosperity but left looming economic problems unaddressed. Herbert Hoover, once admired for humanitarian work, faced the Great Depression's onset. His limited government response failed to stop mass suffering, cementing his presidency as one of crisis and hardship. Franklin D. Roosevelt. Elected 4 times, FDR transformed America with the New Deal, expanded federal power, and led through World War II. His leadership reshaped the presidency and modern American society. Harry S. Truman. Truman authorized the atomic bombings, ended World War II, and initiated Cold War containment. Domestically, he advanced civil rights and launched the Marshall Plan to rebuild post-war Europe. Dwight D. Eisenhower. A World War II hero, Eisenhower expanded infrastructure with the interstate highway system and balanced Cold War tensions. His leadership style was steady, pragmatic, and marked by moderation. John F. Kennedy. Kennedy inspired Americans with his vision of a new frontier. He managed the Cuban Missile Crisis, supported civil rights, and sparked the space race before his tragic assassination. Lyndon B. Johnson. Johnson's Great Society brought sweeping civil rights and anti-poverty laws. However, his escalation of the Vietnam War overshadowed his domestic achievements and deeply divided the nation. Richard Nixon. Nixon is remembered for opening diplomatic relations with China and advancing space exploration, but his presidency collapsed under the Watergate scandal, leading to his historic resignation. Gerald Ford. Ford became president after Nixon's resignation. He focused on healing the nation, but his pardon of Nixon was controversial and hurt his chances for re-election. Jimmy Carter. Carter emphasized human rights and negotiated the Camp David Accords, achieving peace between Egypt and Israel. However, economic struggles and the Iran hostage crisis defined his presidency. Ronald Reagan, a charismatic leader, Reagan promoted conservative policies, strengthened the military, and championed Reaganomics. His presidency is also credited with helping end the Cold War, alongside Gorbachev. George Herbert Walker Bush. Bush oversaw the end of the Cold War and led the U.S. during the Gulf War. Despite foreign policy success, economic recession hurt his popularity at home. Bill Clinton. Clinton's era brought economic growth, balanced budgets, and technological expansion. However, his presidency was marred by impeachment due to a personal scandal, though he was acquitted and remained popular. George W. Bush. Bush's presidency was shaped by the 9/11 attacks, launching wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. Domestically, his policies on security and the 2008 financial crisis defined his legacy. Barack Obama. As the first African-American president, Obama introduced the Affordable Care Act, oversaw the killing of Osama bin Laden, and focused on economic recovery after the 2008 recession. Donald Trump. Trump disrupted traditional politics with a populist style, focusing on immigration, tax cuts, and deregulation. His presidency ended with controversy over the 2020 election and the Capitol riot. Joe Biden. Biden prioritized unity, COVID-19 recovery, and major infrastructure and climate bills. His term faced challenges like inflation, global tensions and political polarization shaping his presidency's narrative. And that's the story of every U.S. president, from George Washington to Joe Biden. Each one left behind a legacy that shaped America in its own unique way. If you enjoyed this journey through history, don't forget to like the video, share it with friends, and subscribe for more amazing videos like this.